That corner looks really empty and sad. That corner of the room looks really empty and sad.
I know. We gotta build all the stuff in here, and I'm hoping I can start next week. Are we online?
We are now on the line.
You didn't say anything about hi.
Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and go find us on our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And go find us on, what else are we on? Hive?
Yeah, for whatever that's worth. I don't even know if Hive is doing anything.
Who knows? We don't know anything about that. All right, welcome.
Yeah, so in theory, next Sunday we'll be starting to build in this room.
We need to fix that camera.
So hopefully.
It's too high up.
What is?
The camera.
Well, that's what we have today. You didn't say anything in advance, so now we're already here.
Can't see my pineapple, which is really important. The pineapple is important. Okay, welcome. We have treats to talk about.
Well, sorry we didn't show up last week. We were
very busy.
Yeah, we were on vacation. We were planning to do a show on Sunday, and then we just got busy with trying to get ready and going, and we didn't have as much. We just said, forget it. Then we go, hey, we'll do it when we get there.
We were so busy.
We just didn't.
I feel like every day, it's because every day we had an activity.
You book stuff every day.
Well, it was stuff you wanted to do. I was trying to keep you happy. Because you get bored really easy if we're in a confined area, like a resort or a cruise or an all-inclusive anything. This one he walks the entire thing. The first day he's like, okay, well, I'm done. We can go home now. No.
There's nothing else to see.
I know. So
well, it doesn't help that you don't want to be outside.
Oh, no. Why would I? There's sun.
There's nothing to do inside. Everything to do is outside.
No, there were a lot of things to do inside.
What was it? Something
we watched movies.
Okay, in
the had a ukulele class.
That was
we
the day we left.
We had dinner.
Okay, the food is every day given.
There was shopping. It's all indoors.
So
the
none of
spa,
these
the gym.
Okay, I went to the gym. You went to the spa. These are not things to do.
Those are things to do. They're activities.
Those are not activities. Those are things we do when we're here.
Except ukulele classes.
Ukulele we did the day before we left, and we did it by accident.
It was awesome. I should have brought my ukulele and played y'all's song.
Did not.
I know how to play Happy Birthday. That's the only song.
For those that don't know, we were in Hawaii.
We were in Hawaii. Here's my little Hawaiian pineapple girl, because we went to the Dole Plantation in Hawaii. And you want some pineapple? You want to try pineapple, please?
Sure.
I know you're not huge into pineapples like I am.
Here we go.
I think not as much as I am.
You're not. You make people think that you're like in this massive pineapple love.
I love pineapple.
You rarely eat pineapple.
It's not pretty.
That is true.
I like pineapple.
So why is it when we buy like the fresh pineapple, you're always like, you need to eat that, and you never eat it?
I eat pineapple. Okay. That was really good. Anyway. Yeah, so we went to the Dole pineapple plant.
Anyway, yes. And look, I survived swimming with sharks.
We went swimming with sharks.
That was like being a rodeo. It was like we took a beating in the ocean.
We should have a little video just about that and our excursions.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Because it was a lot. All right, pineapple's good.
So anyway, we're going to catch up. We actually watched the movie there because we like going to, it seems like, why would you go to a movie when you're on vacation? But we like looking at the different theaters more than anything. Like we had some free time. We were out exploring the city because we were stuck with a rent car that we couldn't take back early, and the most jankiest rental situation ever. And then we went to an aquarium and this other stuff, and they're like, "Hey, let's check out the theater this year," because we was like seeing the differences in theaters,
especially in theater,
especially in theaters that aren't in like the continental U.S.
Yeah,
especially international theaters. We like just seeing how they handle things differently. And
so much nicer than our
so we did that. So yeah. So now we're going to get caught up in.
Had a good theater experience. They had good food.
They did. They had good food.
They had
it was like the food menu was up to date and a lot better than what we have here in some in regular theaters. But the theater itself was like going back in time.
It was old school. It was an old school theater.
Like they had nice seating and they had pick your seats and stuff. But they even had the little piece of paper that they printed out, put in a little plexiglass plastic stand to show you the times and stuff. And it was like, what is happening here? Anyway, sorry. What are we talking about?
All right. So
we have a lot of stuff, so we're going to probably zoom through some of them kind of quick.
Are you okay? We'll go with this?
Yeah, it's fine.
We're going to go kind of older to newer. We also saw some things on the plane, which I love plane time because you get to watch 3 or 4 movies in a row.
I watched 9 to 5 twice.
I watched 9 to 5 once.
I watched it once on the way there, once, and yes, the old one with Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, and
It's so fun. Definitely.
Lily Tomlin. I love that movie.
So fun. Okay.
I was obsessed with that movie when I was a little kid. I watched it.
We are going to talk about the Ben Affleck movie Hypnotic. We missed it a couple of months back when it came out.
From director Robert Rodriguez, which I've been excited to watch this movie because I love Robert Rodriguez. I'm a Ben Affleck fan. I think this movie got a bad rap in regards to its release. It was one of those, if I'm not mistaken, the story was it was already finished for a couple of years, and then they finally just decided to drop it. They didn't really hardly even promote it. They just kind of suddenly dropped it out there. So I believe it ended up scoring like the worst box office for both Rodriguez and Affleck. But it was a studio just kind of like, here you go.
That's not fair.
Kind of like went to the theaters, then went straight to digital, and we kept missing it, kept planning to watch it, and then we got on the plane and we're like, oh,
let's watch this.
Oh, there's another one I didn't put on there, but I'll throw it out there in a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
So
I've got one.
I think we have different opinions of this film.
This is not at all what I thought was happening, because I remember that his daughter goes missing and he's searching for her. That's what I remembered right from the trailer, and it is that.
Yeah, and the trailers talked about like hypnosis and
yeah, so I was like, okay, I can deal with that, because I feel like hypnosis is legit. But this is like a step beyond that. It's a little
sci-fi,
supernatural sci-fi.
Yeah, it's more sci-fi.
It felt a little bit. What's the movie with the guy where the buildings are doing this?
Oh, Inception.
Yes,
it did have that little bit.
Had a little bit of that feel from who was it? DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio. That kind of thing. It's a little.
I really like this movie.
And I like woo woo, and I'm all out there. I'm all in for this, but I guess because I wasn't expecting that it was going into a supernatural sci-fi realm, that I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Well, I didn't know if it was going in that direction, but anytime you start adding hypnosis to something, to me, there's always a possibility that it's going to go somewhere kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of went into it with this anticipation of something out there. And also knowing Rodriguez doesn't just do typically run-of-the-mill stuff. He has, but it's usually there's something more there. I was actually excited for it. I really came out of it really digging it. I really like the direction. I like its ending, the twist of it. And
I mean, I think more than anything, this is just, for me, another confirmation that Ben Affleck is a great actor.
He is.
I know he's a
better director than he is an actor.
He gets ragged on for different things,
but I think he's become a great actor. I think because of his great direction.
Yes,
it's made him evolve. I
agree.
Because I used to be the first to tell you, as much as I liked Ben Affleck, I would tell you he's Jimmy Stewart of today. Like every character is the same. Like Jimmy Stewart's a good actor, but he's always Jimmy Stewart.
Right.
You know, Ben Affleck used to always be Ben Affleck. You know, but he was the bomb in Phantoms, yo. But I agree, and I think he's really good here, and I don't think we get to see enough of him just carrying a movie like this.
And he's good at drama. I think that's where he's obviously where he shines here is these dramatic things. He's really good. I liked it, and I always like this dude, William Finchner.
Oh, Finchner's amazing all the time.
He's always amazing. Hey, it's so good. But I thought it was a really good movie. It's a really solid movie. I didn't know that's where we're going, so it threw me off, but it is good. I
think I liked it even more because you watched it before I did, because I was watching a different movie, and I was a little jealous. I was like, oh man, she's getting to see that already. But I was watching a movie other movie that I really, really wanted to see first. And so when you finished and you went, eh, I was like,
I had to sit with it.
So in my mind, I was like, man. And then I watched it. I'm like, what is this problem?
No, I had that because, like I said, I'm like, it's going weird on me. But I liked it.
I don't understand, because this movie I don't think it had great reviews, and I don't understand the hate of the movie, but I really dug it.
I wonder if it's what I thought, because it went a little woo-woo and people can't follow that.
I don't know, or maybe people thought it was something else. But yeah. I really dug it. I thought it was a solid story. I thought it had a nice twist to it that you may or may not see coming, but it's still fun. Yeah. I thought it was a good, solid flick.
Yeah, it was good.
So check that out. It's available now on digital. I think you can rent it for like $3.99 or $5.99. I don't think it's been released to Blu-ray or anything yet. I think it just got put out like in May or something. So, but you can find it digital if you can't still find it in theaters. So if you want something different, check out Hypnotic.
Yeah, watch something different. Are you okay if we go here?
Sure, why not?
All right. I will watch anything with Liam Neeson.
Me too. Even though majority of his recent stuff hasn't been great,
We're gonna try another snack.
They haven't been bad, but they've been kind of slowly falling into the realm of the straight-to-video stuff and kind of cliched. And this one, though, I had a little higher hope for, just because of the setting seemed a little bit different. It didn't seem like it was just the same thing. But also the director, which was, Nimrod Antal, who did Predators.
Yes.
Was involved, so I thought maybe we'll get something
a little bit actiony.
So what did you think?
Again, I think this one was fine. I think it's I think too, maybe perhaps we got all hyped and Taken and the Taken series, and even that movie where he's fighting the wolves in the snow. Like we got hyped up Liam Neeson, but I think we need to realize he's an older gentleman. And he got typecast late in life as an action hero. And I think now he's just doing dramatic films.
Well, he keeps saying he's retired from action movies and then puts out another action movie. But I think this is a good twist.
Would you like a pineapple-shaped cookie?
Sure.
We are now trying cookies from the Honolulu Cookie Company.
I think this is a better version of what he's been doing lately. Because the whole movie takes place with him sitting in a car. Mm-hmm, and so it's not something we haven't seen before. We've seen movies where people are like in speed and things like this where they're stuck in something and they have to do something. I think this gave him a chance to do more acting, not have to rely on trying to pull off stunt work.
Correct.
But still get some dramatic stuff. I think this is one of the better movies he's done in a while. I think where this movie lost me was the annoying kid. Mm-hmm. The son in the movie, and it wasn't like a good acting annoying. It's just an annoying character. I mean, the guy did fine, but it was just he was so annoying for no reason other than just being a jerk. That just annoyed me because even it was like times I hate when they're I know they're trying to establish there's friction between the dad and the son and whatever is their coconut.
There might be a hint of something. It's macadamia and chocolate chip.
Oh, but
you told me.
I hate when the kids are just jerky for no reason and then stay that way, even in a moment where it's very obvious something's going down. Like there's a moment where
it's like,
get rid of your phone. He's like, why? It's like. You could tell there's something wrong, and he's asking you aggressively. He's telling you urgently, and instead you're like, "No, it's my phone." And I'm like, "Dude, if you're too stupid to realize something else is going, then So that kind of annoyed me, and so it was kind of pulling me out of the movie because I got so focused on the annoyance of that kid. Beyond that, I thought it worked well. It had a good twist to it.
It did have a good twist, and at one point I thought it was going to be like, "Oh, the whole thing's fake the whole time," and he did this and this and this, and they made him do. I thought it was going to be one of those. That fake out movie, like what happened with that lady at the fast food restaurant, with that phone call.
Yeah.
There was a real life story where they made him do all that stuff to that girl, and it was fake out the whole time. So I was like, oh, but then it twists again. So I liked the end of it. I liked the whole thing of it.
It does still fall in that category of being very.
It's a little bit by the numbers.
Yeah, by the numbers. It's nothing new. Like I said, I found it a little more entertaining than the last couple he's done.
Yeah.
But it's still not. It's not the Liam Neeson you think you're going to get, and you have to kind of get away from that because we're not getting that anymore.
Right.
Especially since, like I said earlier, he says he's done with action films. That means he's done with thrillers. That means he's probably going to be done with like the Taken type, hardcore, a lot of physical action.
Yeah.
But either way, if you like Liam Neeson, give it a try. Retribution is in theaters now.
There you go. Next.
And I'm all in for anything he does.
Are we okay to go here?
Sure. This is a movie we definitely have different opinions of.
And we missed it because this was months ago. This was in April.
Well, it just came out in July on Blu-ray. So we're not too far off from when it comes back.
Did you like these?
Yeah, they're not bad. It does have a little weird of an aftertaste. But I think it's the macadamia in that.
Okay, I hope it is because it does say it's produced on a line that could be a coconut line if you're
malted barley
made
flour.
On shared equipment for eggs, macadamia nuts, coconut, and soy. I'm not allergic to anything. Thank goodness I'm not allergic to any of those things, but
so anyway,
you could have a little.
If you don't like them, I'll eat them.
No.
Don't feel like I'll eat them.
No. You were like, oh, I don't want all these cookies.
I didn't want them, but now I have them. I'll eat them.
Okay. Fine. Beau Is Afraid.
Anyway, sorry. So this next one, Beau Is Afraid. It's from Ari Aster, who is the same director who did Midsommar and Hereditary.
So I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. Midsommar is one of her favorite movies in the last few years. I did love it as well, and also I love Hereditary. She liked it up until the end of it.
Then got me.
So we were both in, and also the interesting aspect from the trailer of seeing Joaquin Phoenix play everybody except for the young boy.
Correct.
That young boy is not.
He just happens to look like him.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about
great casting.
Everybody thought he was, and I thought it too in the trailer. That was him superimposed, and then the actor came out. I was like, no, this is me.
Sweet little kid.
The movie is essentially, it's kind of hard to explain. It's essentially about a guy who is afraid of life, afraid of everything, of failure. You name the fear, he has it. And he's gone through some abuse and different things. So it's literally just him navigating the world.
Right.
But it is, if you know Midsommar, if you know Hereditary, it's going to go into some weird directions. It's got kind of a supernatural-ish horror, thriller, drama, all meshed into one. But it's a piece about human nature and about dealing with fears and those kind of things, and finding fears and how do you get through them, how do you navigate the world through them. Just in this case, it's one person that has them all.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It is very bizarre. It's very strange. But I thought it was such a clever take on the subject matter. And I think Joaquin was absolutely brilliant in this movie. But it is also one that I can totally understand people going, I don't know what is going on in that movie, and I hate that movie.
Yeah. I will agree he's good in it. That I can absolutely give you. The movie itself, it is strange. It's odd. And I'm glad we had time to kind of sit with it, because it's told in, it's obvious, it's told out of sequence. It's told from his perspective, and you understand from him, he suffered a lot of child abuse, very emotional abuse, physically being locked into a confined space. You can tell he has like some sort of anxiety disorder. He's taking multiple pills for different things. You get the story, a little bit of a childhood. You get the story of his older life before he dies. And then you come back to his current time period. And part of it, I feel like as his older life, it's told like a fable. You know, so it's not, so you don't even know what's real and what's not. It is
very fairy tale-ish, and it's hard to tell sometimes what's going on. You know, you're like, wait,
but
what?
You can see when you're in the middle of the story.
This is the movie that there was one time that I told you, like, wait, when did that happen?
Yes.
Because I got thrown off and I looked at something else.
Oh, yeah, if you look away, you've
got
to
looked away
pay
and answered
attention.
an email or something on my phone, and I look back up and I'm like, wait a minute, when did that person show up? And you're like, well, this is the past. I'm like, when did that happen? Or no, that was on that other show. That
I don't know.
That was that TV show.
But
it's the same kind of thing.
Because you're in the middle of a story, then you go back to something that happened in his childhood, which is affecting a memory he's having right now. But in the middle of him having right now, his mom's like, hello, stupid kid, wake up. But it's because he's stuck in a loop of trauma. And to the point where you don't know what's real and what's not. And I don't think he does either, because he's so heavily medicated. So you get to the end story of the old man, and then something he said earlier doesn't jive with this, but could it be that he's remembering it wrong? Because then you go back and you see, and you're like, So
well, the interesting thing I thought about is I was reading an interview with the director, and he was saying that people, of course, they asked him, you know, how did you feeling about the movie not being as well received as some of your previous movies? He goes, it doesn't bother me. He goes, because I think this is a movie that, he goes, I hope people will go back and watch it the second time and discover what they didn't discover the first time. He goes, because
that makes sense.
He goes, because the movie is kind of a slap in the face when you watch it, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
And he goes, but there's layers, and he goes, and I think the different layers are going to affect different people in a different way.
Yeah.
And he goes, so I just hope it's one that people are willing to sometimes step back and go, you know what, I need to see this again. Maybe I missed something.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like somebody, I'm reading just comments and stuff. It's like when you deal with childhood trauma, because that's where this one starts, but it's also the guilt of that, the shame of it, not being able to tell anyone, then that builds. Then you have him not being able to just deal with normal life. And he has a fear of being alone, a fear of his mom, a fear of being alone still, but also not being alone. And I mean, it's his unresolved issues, his unresolved emotions. He doesn't know who his father is. He has a weird irrational fear of sex, and he has a fear of being, and it's like this whole circle of things. So it's actually really deep and interesting.
Yeah, and there's moments too where he has like an epiphany, like, oh, that's okay. and then something tragic happens to make it not okay.
And he's like, oh my gosh, it's not okay. I was right.
Like, there's a great moment. I don't want to tell you what happened, but there's a great moment that he's terrified. And at the end of it, it brings him joy and pleasure and happiness. And he's like so hesitant. The first moment he smiles and he's like, oh my God, all my fears were nonsense. Everything is okay. This was worth doing this. This was enjoyable. I loved it. And then something horrific happens because of what they did. And it sends him right back spiraling out of control. It's very interesting. And then there's the end of the movie is going to be where it separates a lot of people. Because the end of the movie is probably the most far-fetched part of everything.
Yeah, that weird thing in the room.
When it ends, it ends, and then it's like credits just start, and you're like. But to me, I found it like the perfect because it's the moment of happiness, it's the moment of acceptance, it's a moment of, oh, I'm okay, and then whatever happens, and then there's nothing else. It's like life. It's like when that moment happens and the end comes or whatever it is, that's it. And then the next day everybody moves on. Whether it's you got a job and you were super excited, the next day you're just at that job. It's not exciting anymore. If you got fired today, tomorrow you're sad, but that job still exists somebody else, or you die. We all are sad that you died, but tomorrow I got to go back to work, Yeah. It's crazy. I really enjoyed it, but it is, Beau Is Afraid is now available on Blu-ray, DVD, I think 4K, all that kind of stuff, as well as I'm sure digital, if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
Or on the airplane, or on the DVD kiosk in Honolulu, Hilton, Hawaii.
Yeah, right.
If you happen to be watching our show while you're in Honolulu, and you happen to be staying at the Hilton, what is it, Waikiki Resort, Hilton. Go to one of the DVD kiosks, and they have Beau Is Afraid there for rent for free. It's part of your package. Can I just point that out? That is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. This is the first place we've been to where they had DVD players in the rooms, and they had kiosks all over the resort with free rentals.
Yeah, you can just rent whatever.
They just give you a card, so instead of going pay-per-view crap in the room, you go to the kiosk anytime you want.
Guys.
You only get one at a time, but you can get as many as you want the entire time you're there. You just go there, you return it, you get another one, and they got a lot of good choices, a lot of new stuff. So.
Then someone else who had an interesting theory on this movie is like, what if through all the abuse and stuff, it created the old man version actually has dementia and isn't really remembering his entire life. And throughout the main part of his life, we're seeing it develop.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know, guys. It's an interesting movie. I think if you don't like the guy's stuff, you might not like it.
Yeah, if you don't like Hereditary, well, maybe not, because Hereditary and Midsommar are so different in themselves.
They're all different.
This is a completely different turn as well. All three of his movies are different. Like Hereditary is almost a full horror film.
Correct.
Midsommar is more of a horror thriller-esque.
But if you can look past it, it's just she's just dealing with like loss. Like
I know, but the movie itself is set in a cult horrific thing, so it's kind of.
Is it?
It is.
Is it just a group of people that really want to live together and work together as a community?
That's called a cult.
This one's dealing with trauma.
This is a person like a character study of that mental issues and
mental health and just prolonged abuse and
I think
trauma.
It's one that deserves more recognition than it's gotten. So I do hope people kind of find it as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, check it out.
All right, next. We're going here.
All right. Another one we were really excited to watch that just got released on Blu-ray and DVD a couple weeks ago, but we didn't have our show. Is The Blackening.
Yes.
And we were sold on this movie from the first trailer, not even because of the movie, but because of the promotions of really playing up the whole idea of how the black person always dies first in a slasher flick. Mm-hmm. And so with the whole black cast, as you see on the little thing, it says we can't all die first. And so it really leans into that whole idea. And it's a comedy slasher flick.
Comedy.
And it has a lot of tones of like Scream and Friday the 13th.
Very much.
But it's kind of a funny thing that pokes fun at itself while not being a spoof.
Correct.
It's not like Scary Movie funny.
No, not at all. It's very self-aware.
Yeah.
Which I like. Okay, our next snack are pineapple glazed mixed nuts.
Are these also from the Dole Plantation?
These are also.
We got a lot of stuff at the Dole Plantation, apparently.
We did. I enjoyed my time there. I was not feeling great, but that made me happy.
Yeah, we were coming from swimming with sharks, and she was pretty stressed out and not feeling well. And
okay, I can open that.
And so she almost killed us trying to make a U-turn to get into the Dole Plantation.
I was like, Dole Plantation!
What happened here?
It's right there, but it's what?
I know, but I
it's
don't
not
think
coming
it down
apart.
deep enough, so.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't have fingernails now, so I can't get it to.
I did. It just won't pull.
Okay, start talking about the Blackening.
Okay, the Blackening.
I'm getting it.
It's a group of friends that come together for a reunion. And they're remembering the good old days. They're like, hey, let's play some board games or do whatever. Well, just take a bunch of stuff for yourself. You can give some.
Put your hand out of the whole bag there for you.
Wow.
Rude.
I'm going to make sure I take as many as you took. Oh, these smell very pineapple. Wow. And suddenly, bum, 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 mysterious killer. And then they got to figure out how they're going to get away.
But it's all based on a board game.
Correct.
So it's got like a Jumanji flair to it.
But horror.
And then it even kicks off like Scream, where it has two different people. They go through stuff with a famous person. I'm not going to tell you who the person is, but.
The first kills.
Yeah, the guy. He's a famous comedian.
These are interesting. I don't know.
I don't usually like any of these kind of nuts, but they're not bad.
Okay.
I had fun with this movie.
It was a lot of fun.
I think some of the best parts, the kills aren't as
they're not original or anything.
Yeah, well, they're not as gory or creative as I was hoping they would be. But I think some of the best parts of this movie come from the banter of kind of dealing with the black culture stuff and like what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, and like there's questions they have to answer in the game, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie, and they're having to answer questions about Friends and some other stuff. They're all saying that they don't watch that, but they all know the answers, and then you find out they do actually watch it, and stuff about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and so all the questions that the black people should know, and then the questions they shouldn't know because it would be uncool if they did, but they all knew the answers. It was really funny just the way they executed all of it. It was
a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I think what I enjoy most is, I don't want to sound stereotypical, but you know when black people don't do scary movie things typically. You're like our black friend doesn't like scary movies, and you know if you've ever experienced a scary movie in a black theater, it's way more fun than going to just a normal theater because everybody's like actively participating in the movie, and I love that.
I do it within reason. Sometimes it gets out of control.
Or like just any sort of black film, black people actively engage with the screen, and so
here's my thing in regards to that.
Okay.
I like any audience that will engage in the movie on the screen.
Yeah.
I don't like when it's over the top and they start just doing it because they're trying to be loud or trying to be. Look, we're engaging,
But in this instance, when it's an all-black cast and there's a killer, like, oh no, because that's exactly what I would be about. Oh no, not today.
But everybody does it, so it's like, there's nobody willing to do anything.
But I don't know. I really enjoy this movie. It's fun. It's clever. It weaves in black culture. Like you said, TVs and movies and history but like, oh, you say you're black.
Tell me
the black anthem of this.
It's a love letter and pointing out the hypocrisy.
Correct.
Of black culture mixed with horror films, and how, and when I say hypocrisy, about how the black people are always the one to be killed first, and then the mockery of their culture and making these stereotypes. They have like one of every stereotype character in the movie, and none of them are willing to do the stuff that they would normally do in the slasher flicks that we're used to, which makes them all confrontational with each other, which makes it entertaining.
It was hilarious. Yeah, I agree. And then, there's like one thing, who's the blackest person? Is it a good thing to be the blackest person? Is it not a good thing to be the blackest person?
You're the light one.
You're the whitest one, but you're like,
you're safest.
So it's actually really good. I don't know how well it did, but
it was a big, I don't know how financially it did. It got great reviews across the board. Everybody I haven't found a person that saw it that didn't love it.
It is amazing.
I will say,
where do you watch it right now?
Well, it's on Blu-ray and everything now.
Oh, okay.
So probably digital somewhere. I don't remember who put it out. I think it was Lionsgate. So it may pop up on Peacock or something soon.
I thought it was great.
I will say, it wasn't overly hard to figure out who's behind stuff. So that let me down a little bit because I thought we were going to go in a different direction. But at the same time, it plays into the cliche of the genre.
Which I love.
Yeah.
So
either way, it still works, and I loved
it
it.
was really good.
So check out the Blackening, available now on Blu-ray and DVD. What else we got?
Next,
We're turning them through today.
we're going through. We got a lot. Oh, we're to some newer things now.
All right, a sequel that we didn't know we needed.
OMG. We are now on Vacation Friends 2.
So Vacation Friends was a movie that came out, I think, during 2020.
Yeah, it was a pandemic film, man.
Or it might have been 2021. I don't know. I have to look at my review and tell you.
Go look.
I wrote it in my review.
Okay. Go check it.
But
I'm pulling it up.
for Lil Rel Howery and John Cena.
2021.
Yeah, so I think it was right out of the pandemic. The movie got sold. I don't think it was originally made for Hulu. I think during the pandemic stuff, it got sold to Hulu. But it became a big hit for them, where it's yet another chance of John Cena to flex not only his regular muscles, but his comedy muscles, with Lil Rel Howery, with them playing the straight-laced couple, John Cena and the other girls playing the crazy people. I thought the first movie was fun.
I really did.
I don't think it got great reviews, but it did really well, good numbers for the franchise. I didn't know we were getting a second one until about a month before it came out. Yet here we are with Vacation Friends 2. They did a smart thing where they basically picked it up where it left off.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't go a long ways. And I think the second one, for me, the reason it works is they took it in a lot of directions that the first one didn't go. So it made it a little bit different. Like this one even has an action, buddy action comedy vibe on top of just the comedy.
Yep.
What did you think of the new one?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I do agree. I like that it picked up exactly kind of where the last one left off. We have our same characters, but a new adventure. They're on a new adventure again. And I like that just, everybody just happens to be there on this little adventure, which is a little convenient, but it's funny. And we get some new characters that add some craziness. Crazy things do happen. They
have a fun, silly, but smart way of bringing them in some old characters. I believe it's Carlos Santos, which was like the concierge from the first movie. Mm-hmm. No reason he would be in this movie, but they brought him in, and there's this funny gag with him watching the kids. Yep. And comedian Ronnie Chang, I'm sorry, how do you say it? We think is hilarious. Had a great role as like the CEO kind of thing of this company, and a lot of his deadpan humor. They also brought in the always awesome Steve Buscemi, who was a great addition to the film. So they took it to new levels, and I think it's fun. And I love that John Cena still, despite his star power now, he still seems super comfortable just making fun of himself and being silly and being crazy. And he's found his niche where he can do an action flick, but he can do these comedies just as easy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I could believe John Cena in just a serious action flick. Yeah. But I think he works better in the comedies.
Yeah. Well, I think because it's funny too to see like a big muscle guy doing something silly. Yeah. To me, that's funnier. Except I just don't want to see big muscle guys cry. That's the only thing I can't stand in life.
Well, it's like the difference, like Hulk Hogan became like the first big wrestler, movie star kind of thing that had that epic of a career. Who started off as his first movie being Rocky 2. Yeah. Yeah. And then he started doing his own action stuff, and he did okay with some of them. They went into that weird comedy action world, and it just wasn't working. And he never had the full acceptance because his movies were just not good. John Cena's kind of stepped in and taken on. He started off in just straight up action, and then I think his first comedy was that Amy Schumer movie.
Yes, that was hilarious.
And he kind of, I believe, and then he's done a ton of them, and even taking on Peacemaker, he found an action thing but still be funny, and it just fits him. What are you doing over there?
I'm just looking. Anyways, okay. Do you like Vacation 1 or 2?
I actually like 2 better, but that's because they started infusing some of the action and some of the stuff that I just thought was fun. And I like Steve Buscemi and everything.
I like 1 better. I've decided. Because it's the first it's like the abruptness of it. It's like what? And then we watched it again. We watched the first one right before we watched this one.
Back to back.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I just think they're funny.
So if you like the first one, you like the second one. And once again, it's on Hulu. Check out Vacation Friends 2, now available on Hulu.
Okay.
It's a fun little comedy.
All right. Next.
Not breaking down the laws of comedy at this point. It's just.
Yeah. Okay, we're here.
All right.
You are so not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Is this the last 2?
Yes.
Okay, cool. This is one of the movies that I didn't really have an interest in watching initially. until I saw the title of it. I was like, that might be fun. Okay, it's a kid, kind of a teen movie. I don't really know. Then I saw Adam Sandler was on. Then I realized, oh crap, that's Adam Sandler's kids and his wife, and it's like, okay, this is a whole Adam Sandler production kind of thing, and he's producing it. So I said, let's give it a shot. He's already getting backlash.
Why?
It's one of those things that it's funny. The director came out because somebody was like, oh, it's normal. It's one of the things that anytime celebrities' kids star in something, they start saying, oh, look, he made a movie and put his kids in it, so they're only getting famous and getting a movie because they're related to Adam Sandler. And the director came out and was like, yeah, I'm not worried about what everybody say because Adam Sandler has been known for doing nothing but put all of his family and
all his family friends in every movie.
In this case, his friends in the movie just happen to be his kids.
That's cool. Whatever, man.
But I will say, this movie is fantastic. I really enjoyed this movie.
I thought it was super fun. It was super cute.
It is the stereotypical coming of age teen comedy kind of thing, just set in that world of the Jewish.
We're in Jewish school, basically the drama of Jewish school.
Yeah, which I think again,
which we don't get to
it gives it that different angle that you didn't get to see in the normal vibe of these kind of movies, and the importance of the mitzvahs and the cultures but still friendship is still growing as a woman and all that kind of stuff.
I loved it. I love all things Adam Sandler. Most of the time.
I don't know about all things, but
most of the time. But I thought these little girls were like the cutest little girls ever, aren't they?
Yeah, and well, I've seen them in numerous things. It's crazy how big they've gotten at this point.
I just and then I'd like too that we do get the whole story. Like, I guess it makes me feel better that in every school or every situation you have like the nerdy kids and the popular kids, and these kids hang out with these people, and these people are friends with these people, and you got your group of people. And I think it's really also, in addition to the coming of age things, and it's at a Jewish school, I think it's too just about realizing who your true friends are, and those friendships that will last forever. Like, you got some of those, that just friends forever. And I also I think my favorite person in this was the rabbi lady, because she's always just trying to solve everything with music. It's gonna be okay with her maracas. She's just gonna save the world.
What is wrong with this lady?
I just thought she was cute. She's that one weird teacher that just wants to make everything all right.
I think my favorite was the weird. It was hard to ever tell, and it wasn't important because they never told you, and you didn't need to know. But the older sister and her friend, and we got confused. It's like, is that another daughter that's adopted? Were they in a relationship? Nothing's doing anything. She's just always there.
But did you ever have those friends that were just always at your house?
Yeah, I did. But that's why it bugs me, because I want to know, is there more there? Like, with me and my friend Danny, when we were growing up, one of us was always at the other one's house all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we just stayed there overnight. We didn't really even ask anymore. It's like, I'm going to Danny's, and then I might not come home for 3 days.
It's weird, man.
And then vice versa, he'd come over, and I'm sure either their parents told them or we would tell them, I'm going to go to Danny's and I might spend the night. Okay.
Yeah.
We lived around the corner for each other, so if I didn't come home, I'm assuming my parents
probably
called them and said, is Bobby over there? Or they may not have loved me. I don't know.
Well,
but I just know that there would be days I would be hanging at Danny's house, and then it'd be 3 days later and I'd go home. And Mom's like, you finally decided to come home? I was like, just to get some toys. But I'd leave again, But it was interesting because she's just always there. There's one moment they're holding hands, means nothing. It's just like, wait a minute, are they together? And then I think it's another time, I think Adam Sandler's holding a girl's hand, like they're going in somewhere together. Like, okay, maybe this isn't like another daughter that's adopted or something, because she's clearly not related.
No, but then at one point the girl's like, why are you always here?
Yeah.
The younger sister.
Yeah, and then she refers to Adam Sandler and his wife by their first name. He's like, don't ever call me that. And she's like, sorry, sir. So then you're like, okay, they're just friends. It was just one of those dynamics. It's fun, and the older sister has been through all this.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of
she's
a voice of reason, and I like that she wasn't hateful to her younger sister.
Yeah.
She would.
Or to her parents, because she tells both of them off.
Yeah, but she would talk trash to her, like typical siblings. But most movies like this, it's always like, the older sibling just hates the younger one. It's never there. Like this one, she's kind of supportive, but still had that brother-sister vibe. And you can tell they have that connection because they're really sisters. So it kind of worked out better.
Okay. What's her name that you don't like?
Who don't I like?
Idina Menzel.
I don't dislike her.
I thought you just didn't like her.
I think she's face is shaped weird, but she's a square
Because she's
head.
in square jaw.
I don't dislike her one way or another. I mean, I just hate Frozen.
I know, me too.
But
Sorry.
I thought she was fine.
Frozen 2's better. If I have to watch one.
What always gets me though is like in this case, and I know why he does it because it does make for a better film, I think. But knowing that Adam Sandler and his wife are in this movie, but they're not playing the husband and wife, they're like rivals of sorts, it made it kind of funny. But also I'm watching it going, but I know that's your wife, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought it worked. It was interesting. We'll just wait for her to text people during our show.
Sorry. I'm checking in on people.
How about those people who watch our show and we won't have to check in on them?
You know what? I'm a good friend.
Are you though?
You're so not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Well, I wouldn't have come to it anyway because you're gross.
Then this got into a whole conversation about mitzvah, bar mitzvah.
I didn't know there was a difference. I just
quinceañeros.
assumed I was saying it. I always said bar mitzvah. So in my mind, I'm watching this movie. I'm like, oh, I've been saying it wrong this entire time. And then this one informed me of the boy, the girl different. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nobody told me these things.
Oh, well. Now you know.
And
all right, check it out. It's on the Netflix.
It is a fun little flick.
It's fun.
Worth checking out.
Watch it with your kids.
You don't have to be Jewish to watch it.
Correct. You might want to be.
But it helps.
Hey.
Anyway, yeah, check it out.
All right, next.
Lastly is the #1 movie of the weekend, The Equalizer 3. Denzel Washington's very first prequel.
Trilogy.
It also was his very first sequel. He's never done a sequel to anything. In this case, he's done 2 of them.
Wow, he's never done a sequel or a trilogy. Wow. You go, boy.
This is also a big deal because this is his first exclusive theatrical release movie since 2020.
Oh.
I think that's what it was. Because they were talking about, I believe during 2020, he did that movie, what's it called?
The Play?
That detective one where it's him and Jared Leto's serial killer. The lights. Lights go out, something like that.
Denzel.
Anyway.
What about Macbeth?
Well, that didn't get none of the last
little things.
The little things. So what I'm referring to is
because those were both in 2021.
But hold on, what I'm referring to is they got theatrical releases, but they also got simultaneous at home releases. So Little Things was Warner Brothers during 2020, whenever that came out. Was when they decided to release everything in the theater and on HBO Max at the time.
Pandemic, yep.
And then the Macbeth one got a limited release, and they went right to Apple TV.
Yeah, we saw it on the
So they didn't. There was another one too. I remember what I think he directed it.
Yeah, it was
that Journal for Jordan. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
He directed that. I think that was another one that kind of he was there, but he directed it. It's another one that kind of got lost in the shuffle. So this is his first exclusive theatrical release in God knows how long.
Since 2018.
And it was #1 over the weekend, and it also did about 30-something million. It had the same box office as the previous 2, showing that people still love the Equalizer.
Yeah.
And we got the joy to watch this as in Hawaii. This is the movie we went to check out the theaters and watch this movie because we just were too excited to not watch the Equalizer.
Yeah,
I love the first 2 movies.
I mean, it was Friday.
And I'm not going to lie, I was a little worried if this was going to be able to live up to the hype of the first 2 because, they usually diminish as you go. And the trailer was showing so much, I'm like, are they spoiling everything? But the stuff you see in the trailer is literally the first few minutes of the movie.
Nothing.
Everything after that is something else.
And I liked we got to see it somewhere different. The theater was fun. And it was interesting because we went early in the morning, kind of.
Yeah, like 11-ish.
And so it was us and a bunch of older folks. And I was like, oh, what are all the older people going to see? All the older people are going to see Equalizer. So I don't know if they also remember the TV show. Plus, they've seen the movies. Don't know. I don't know. I don't think they watched the TV show, the new show. Who knows? They might. Don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we're back. Part 3. We just find out he's doing a little project. He's on a little mission.
It kicks right in, man. You're like,
he gets.
There's already bloodbath when the movie starts.
He's on a mission. He kind of gets sidetracked into this other little town where he's kind of hiding out, and craziness ensues. I was
a little concerned because like when the movie opens, like you feel like you've missed something.
Yeah.
And then it never goes back to it for quite a while, and you're like,
it does eventually.
It does eventually, yeah. It ends up wrapping it all up, and it's What I loved about it
agree too.
is the explanation of it at the end. You're like, wow, really? And it's like such a.
It's such
And I'm
a
not talking about
hit.
the twist. I'm talking about why he did that in the first place. Is so not important, and that's what made it so interesting to shift everything. But I actually like this movie just as much as the previous two.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I think this one is a better / deeper character story of McCall
Agree.
because it isn't as action heavy. I don't think as the first two.
Right.
The action that's here is awesome.
Yep.
But you're getting to see him not only recover from something, but he's trying to find himself and his inner peace and his life, and he's doing so in this place and dealing with a little bit of faith and loss and a little bit of everything. And there's way deeper story there that I think it's a good growth from what we've seen from this character from each of the previous films.
Yep. I like it. I just
I like it.
I don't want to give anything away. I mean, you're gonna get some great action sequences, and I love too that he's just like walking around doing his thing, and he's like, "Do I look like I would kill anybody?"
Right.
But that's the cool thing is you don't know. You don't know if the
Well,
person next to you is a crazy person.
I love that his watch has become the metaphor of turning on and turning off.
Correct.
Because there's a whole non-spoiler really thing where he takes the watch, he puts in a drawer, and you realize, okay, he's done.
He's resting.
But when he puts the watch back on, you're like, oh, you
like,
instantly know somebody's about to get the ass.
You're like, he got the watch.
It's like, it's not like me putting my watch on in the morning to go to class. It's like, oh my God, he took the watch out. Like in another movie, it's somebody took their gun out, or John Wick cracks the floor and opens a case of weapons. He's like, his watch is out. Somebody's ass is about to get whooped.
It's about to be on. And I loved it. And I love the setting of this little town too. Because you know, in the previous things, he's kind of out on his own doing his thing, but here we're in like this little town and this little village.
This one did feel more intimate.
The people, because of where we're at, I think they understand what he is, but it's not a problem to them because of where we're at.
As long as he's not
causing
the problem for them,
that he's helping them, and so they're willing to stand with him. And I was like, oh, he might have found a nice place here. So. You know, that's in the trailer where he's like, I like these people. You're not going to do this here.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great movie. And I liked the village and the little side streets and the little cobblestones and those dang stairs were making me tired. Woo!
I think one of the things, too, that I think was a smart direction for this film was because the people he's dealing with are bigger than something that you could realistically believe he could take out. So they have another element to the film that expands the reach of what he does or can do. And so it makes you buy into it a little bit more. It's like, okay, I can see him something there's not going to be backlash because this is now involved and this and this. So it's not just he wipes all these people out and everybody's like, okay, well, I guess we won't bother them anymore, you know, because it's a bigger situation than one thing.
And there were some twists that we were like, oh, what is this? What is this? So I think that's the other good thing, too, is that although the movie is doing a little bit of this, it kind of follows a line.
Yeah, but it's one of those that's because it's that little town, like you mentioned, that intimate setting feels like a movie that took place in like 2 rooms, even though it's a bigger space than that. But you're such a small alcove of the city and the hallways and stairs and stuff, and the amount of people that are in the movie, you do feel like you're kind of learning who this city is and who these people are. And it takes a long time to get to some of the action sometimes, but it's because it's taking you on his journey for you to say why he cares. And instead of just being, I'm here and I care, I'm going to kick everyone's ass. They could have easily done that and we would have still bought into it.
Yeah.
But in this case, you really care about the people and you understand why he's angry or why he feels this way or why he's happy or whatever his feelings are in that moment of where he's at. This is being billed as the one final film. I don't think there's any plan for do a 4th one. And it does have a good cap on it where I think it's a good journey end to what they're doing with the story. I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't love to see another Equalizer, but I think this is a good ending. I hope they don't do another one.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think it's a good cap to him. I think if they do anything different after the fact, it's going to start feeling forced.
Correct.
Because of the way they ended it.
Yep.
Previously, they could have done it nonstop because he was always had that thing where he's helping the people and each thing could just be a different mission like the show.
Yeah.
This case, it's kind of a capped. And I hope
agree.
I'm glad to see it's doing well. And I hope that people are watching it, giving it props because Denzel's Denzel. What they have talked about, I think I told you this, they have talked about doing a prequel of a younger him and how he got to the point to where he's at. So I'm assuming during the war, the soldier times and special forces and all that stuff. And so what's funny is the director was doing an interview, Anton Fuqua, and I think he mentioned, wouldn't it be cool to do a prequel with somebody like Michael B. Jordan or something like that? And the interviewer says, well, why not use John David Washington, his real life son, who's a big thing right now? And he goes, that's a phenomenal idea, and I would love to see them make a prequel of this with John David Washington taking up the mantle, because he could do a few movies at his age and lead up to where we're at. Bring Denzel back as like a cap to maybe like to where this movie ends, and thinking back on stuff, and have like he could be thinking about different missions or telling stories and still be involved in the movie. There's different ways to do it that I think would be clever, but this one did well enough. If it looks like it, that could be something that gets developed, and it sounds like Anton Fuqua would be really interested in exploring that part of his character. Awesome. And it's a movie, I think, is another one that knocked Barbie down. Even though Barbie's still number 2 in the movie.
That's so good. Anyways, it was a great movie. You should check it out. Equalizer 3.
I believe Barbie has now become like Warner Brothers' highest grossing movie of all time. Like financially, something like that.
Wow.
It's already fixing to knock the number 10 spot of top 10 movies of all time now. And I think it's one of the Star Wars movies, is Jurassic Park or something, is fixing to knock off the number 10 spot. Anyway, Equalizer 3 is in theaters now. Check it out. If you don't, well, you're done.
Fine. Don't. See if we care.
The other movie I did watch that we're not going to dwell on, she doesn't have any slide ready for this because I forgot about it, is this movie, Operation Fortune, with Jason Statham and Hugh Grant and Aubrey Plaza. And it was outstanding.
I've been wanting to watch that.
It was on the plane.
It was?
Yes, that's the first movie I watched. That's what I watched. That's what I watched while you were watching Hypnotic. I told you I was going to watch that. You should have watched that instead of 9 to 5.
Fine.
It's a fun little spy flick. It's kind of silly at times. It's a Guy Ritchie movie, so it has those things. But it didn't do well at the box office. It baffles me because it is a fun flick. So it's another one you can find on digital. I'm not going to go all into it right now, but if you find it, check it out. I think you'll have a good time.
Well, the movie I watched on the plane was a movie with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers called Disquiet. It came out this year. I don't know. It must have had a small release or straight to video. Don't know. It's basically a man wakes up in the hospital after a car crash, and he can't leave the hospital. There's like weird things trying to kill him. Some man supposedly in a coma wakes up and tries to kill him, and then he looks back and the man's in a coma again. So you kind of get the idea that he's being led to either go downstairs, and you see downstairs there's a fire, and someone else is like, no, go upstairs to the light, to the roof. So it looks like it's maybe he's in limbo, kind of dying, maybe dead. We don't know. Trying to figure out his destiny of which way does he want to go. So I thought it was really interesting. There you go. All right, babe, tell me what's coming out over there.
Not a lot, actually. Looks like a slow week, probably because of the holiday week being Labor Day, but we got the Chris Hemsworth movie Black Cat is getting a 4K release. The Princess Bride is getting a 4K release through the Criterion Collection. Harley Quinn, the complete 3rd season animated series, is getting this Blu-ray treatment. That show is fantastic if you've never watched it. The Harley Quinn cartoon.
Yes.
It is so good.
Crazy.
Picard season 3, the final season, is getting the Blu-ray treatment. They're also releasing the Star Trek Picard, the complete series, which not only has all 3 seasons, but I think other important episodes about Picard, I think that might tie into the series from Next Generation. Are all part of the collection. And then the biggest one is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is getting the 4K Blu-ray release, so that'll be coming out.
All right. This week, let's see, tomorrow on Monday, September 4th.
Oh, the other one, I'm sorry, is a movie called Goodbye Monster. Is coming out as well. So that's all.
Okay, actually, sorry. Tuesday, September 5th, coming out on video demand and digital, movie called Thirst. It looks like a thriller. It's a lawyer with substance abuse issues and insomnia. So you know his brain's got to be going cray, cray. It says he's acting erratic. His wife doesn't know what to do. But then you realize that insomnia is starting to spread throughout the town. So everyone's acting crazy. The movie Thirst. Wednesday, coming to Netflix, it's a new series called Predators. It's a documentary narrated by Tom Hardy. Also coming out on Netflix, Scouts Honor, The Secret Files of the Boy Scouts of America. This is an interesting documentary. Survivors and whistleblowers share their experiences of the things that happened during the Boy Scouts and then the eventual cover-up of these sexual abuse cases and just the heartbreaking impact it's had throughout their lives over the past few years. So I think it's probably going to be hard to watch, but I think it's important to watch for us. Coming out on Friday. Friday is a big day. There's a lot happening. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Part 3. That means we got to watch Part 1 and Part 2 this week. I'm excited. Also coming out in the theater, a movie called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It's about two Mexican-American boys that have an encounter in a swimming pool in El Paso in 1987 that transforms their lives.
That happened to me.
Also coming out in theaters, a movie called Poor Things. It's got Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, William Dafoe.
That movie is getting some interesting press.
Yes, because the story itself
a lot of sex.
Is a little bit weird, and they're saying they're applauding Emma Stone for her bravery on set for doing some of these sex scenes, which I'm going to assume may be a little
They're saying it's like one of the riskiest movies in a long time.
So, it's about this woman, Emma Stone, who's says brought back to life from her encounters with Willem Dafoe's character. She's trying to just figure out life, I think. But then it says there's a little bit of debauchery, a little bit of craziness, and she's trying to just figure it out, but also her liberation in life. So there's a lot happening in this movie, and yes, I saw an interview about that. So one to look out for. Oh my gosh. Also coming out this week in theaters, The Nun, Chapter 2. That means we have to go watch Nun Chapter 1 and or many things in the Conjuring franchise. Okay. Somebody on Facebook was like, what's your favorite scary movie? I'm like, you need to watch anything in the Conjuring franchise. And they're like, oh, not that kind of scary. People, what are you looking for?
What other scary is there?
I think that's what I'm thinking. Are you looking for like intellectual scary?
Here's the problem is there's so many subgenres of the horror
scary.
genre.
This is possession scary. What are you looking for?
Yeah, because you have slasher, you have hauntings, you have possessions, then you have
because then they come
ghosts.
Back. Yeah, then they come back and
possession and ghosts and hauntings are not necessarily the same.
No. I think
then
you come back and there's something like Jaws.
Then we have classified as torture porn,
correct?
Which are like Saw and
what's
Hostel
that one? Hostel.
Then you have the creature features, which are the Jaws, anacondas, those kind of things. Then you have classic monsters, which get into the vampires and the Frankensteins and the Wolfmans, and so it's
okay. So to watch The Nun Chapter 2,
you technically only need to watch the first Nun movie because. This is my theory right now. The first movie connects directly to The Conjuring 2, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even to the first one, but I think the second one is directly following the first Nun movie, so I think it's a little more standalone.
Yeah.
The Nun movies take place before all the other Conjuring movies. I believe that's the first one in the line, right?
It is correct I think that's what makes these more creepier. These are like the 1950s.
Yeah.
So we have old school nuns and their little things, and it's basically the story is 1956 France. A priest is murdered, and it seems that evil is spreading. Sister Irene comes face to face with this demonic force. Oh my gosh, I can't handle this. I love too that the lady is the sister of the other lady, like in real life. So it brings all of the movies together because do we find out that they're kind of related throughout in the movies?
I don't think they're related.
In the movies as well?
I don't think they're related. No, I don't think so.
You know what? We gotta go watch Annabelle. Oh my god.
I don't need to, but we will.
Here this is saying things to watch before. Maybe Conjuring 2, Annabelle Creation, and The Nun. It's recommendations of what you could watch. For sure, watch the first Nun before you watch the second Nun.
I'm just watching all of them. I love them.
That's like 10 movies or something, isn't it?
Well, that's three Conjuring movies.
And then there's 3 Annabelles.
3 Annabelles. Oh, well, yeah, we watch all Annabelles, yeah. 3 Annabelles, then technically The Nun, and then La Llorona, even though it's
That's
really
what I
not.
said. It's 8 movies. Okay.
There's another one.
I don't know. Let's look up all Conjuring movies.
It's a Conjuring universe.
Lord have mercy. It's chronological.
I love those movies.
They are really good, but that's what I'm saying. If you want a scary movie, The Nun is first. Annabelle Creation, Annabelle, The Conjuring. Annabelle Comes Home.
That's right after the
Then
Conjuring.
Llorona. Conjuring 2. Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It.
That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because
I'm so scared.
the only connection La Llorona has to the rest of the movies is they happen to pass it when they're on the way home. They drive past it.
Oh, guys,
Anyway.
I'm scared. Okay, Nun 2. We are going to watch it. I'm so scared.
I'm excited.
Coming out to Paramount Plus, the movie of the week there is Finest Kind. It says 2 brothers opposite side of the tracks reunite as adults. Boston crime syndicate. The woman finds herself in the middle. It's got Jenna Ortega, if that's of interest to you. Coming out Prime Video, their movie of the week, Sitting in Bars with Cake. This is interesting. It's based on a true story.
I keep getting something.
It's this lady who's, had unlucky in love. She makes a cake, takes it to a bar for her friend's wedding, and suddenly men start coming like, oh, you have a cake. So her friend challenges her for the next year to make cakes and take them to a bar to meet men. This is based on a true story.
There's a girl
Crazy.
from Blackish. She was on Grown-ups too. The older sister. I forgot her name.
I don't remember. Coming to Apple TV Plus this week is the series The Changeling. Looks interesting. What else is happening this week on Video Demand and Digital? A movie called King on Screen. It's a documentary about Brian De Palma directing Carrie, the first novel of Stephen King. Yeah, Brian De Palma. Thank you. The first novel of Stephen King, so it's called King on Screen. It's a documentary. Awesome. It'll be interesting. Also coming up on Video Demand with Digital, this is a big week. Wake Up, stories from the front lines of suicide prevention. Whew. It is a documentary about different stories. Veterans speak out, LGBTQ, university, gun owners, everybody sharing their stories and experiences on what we can do for suicide prevention. That's kind of it for this week. There's a lot happening. So if you want something funny, go for Greek Wedding 3. If you want something scary, go for Nun 2. If you want like a cool coming of age, go for the Aristotle and Dante. There are so many things to watch. So get out there at the theaters.
Just watch the Nun. You don't need to watch the rest of that crap.
We're going to have to watch 4 things too. I don't know how we're going to work all these in.
We're not going to be able to this week because we have the belt test and the kids come over Friday.
We're not going to get to see anything.
Worst case, we can always separate and you can go watch Greek Wedding. I can watch the Nun.
That's true. All right. That's fine. All right. Tell me the contests.
All right. So we have a couple of contests. Some of them are fixing to end. Some of them have been going on for quite a while because they kept sending me up. So that movie, The Hill, that she has posted up there, that is no longer available.
Oh.
That was for a screening of passes last week. That's my fault. Because we left out of town, I didn't have time to take it off. But I did deactivate the link, so there'll be no confusion trying to get something that doesn't exist. We do have copies of The Flash on 4K, as well as Goodbye Monster, The Return of Swamp Thing, copies of Enter the Dragon on 4K, and Rio Bravo. A lot of these contests will be ending in the next week or so. Some of them have already been sent out to the people. Some of them we had a bunch of copies of, so we just leave it up until they're out. But if you haven't entered, go ahead and enter, because worst case scenario, you don't win. Nothing. You definitely ain't going to win if you don't enter.
Correct.
The dragon. So, yeah.
All right. That's it. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We will see you here next week. Go find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Hive.
And if you're in the Dallas area, tomorrow is the 10th anniversary of Urban Legends Comics that we are app supporters of. They feed my addiction to all my things that geeky and comic bookishy, and I'll be setting up there peddling my artwork and my sketch cards and all that kind of stuff. But they also have a ton of sales and things happening on, and there will be cake. So come on out all day tomorrow. They've been having sales all weekend, but tomorrow is the big day. It's the actual anniversary day. They're a great little store. Just come out and get all the stuff you didn't know you needed, or just come say hi to me. I'll say hi back, and I won't even force you to buy anything.
All right, sounds good.
But you better.
You should.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.